husband and wife, partners in life, family and business.
Through the ups and downs we've overcome, God as a witness.
From the household of faith to real estate to what's happening now.
We've got something to talk about. So for the next few moments, please allow us
to bring you something you can feel.
It's time for the real talk about real life, nothing but real. Gonna tell the truth, it's on design. Let's be real. Join in, tell your friends, 'cause every now and then we all need a reality check with the Adolphs.
Welcome to Reality Check with the Adolphs. I'm Willie.
And I'm Tequila Adolph.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Wait, you gonna say that all the time? For the past 21 years?
And for another 21 plus another 21 plus another 21, of course.
Guys, today's episode we have Dr. Clara Peters, and we're gonna talk about being your authentic self. We'll be right back.
Hi guys, we're Willie and Tequila Adolph.
Oh, yeah.
And what do we do?
Man, we do real estate, credit restoration, concierge service.
I sell Mary Kay. We're ministers. We do marriage counseling.
And we have 2 TV shows, Reality Check with the Adolphs and Bring on the Day.
Hey guys, get to know us at
www.theadolphgroup.com.
Bring on the day. Trusting in God's instructions. Bring on the day. Conversations with Billy and Tequila. Time to bring on, bring on, bring on, bring on, bring on, bring on, bring on the day.
Are you ready to learn how to communicate with each other to discover your strengths and weaknesses that will complement each other towards your new and successful career? Are you ready to have a chance of creating an enjoyable and successful lifestyle with the one whom your soul loves?
Reach out to us today and we will help you get started with couple bonding in business at www.couplesinbusiness.com.
Welcome back to Reality Check with the Adolphs. And this week's question.
This week's question of the week is, would you rather throw away love or money?
Neither.
But that wasn't the question. The question was either or. So pick either or.
Or?
Love, money.
That's the answer that you gave me. Love, money.
Anyway, I would rather give away money.
Yes.
Because once you have love, it just seems like everything just comes to you. I believe in the law of attraction, and if you give more money will come to you.
But if you give more love, love will come to you, but people around you will support you as well. And then that's when money can come into play.
So that's why you said neither? So guys, remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram under Reality Check with the Adolphs, and you can contribute your answer to the question of the week and also send in a question yourself. From our Facebook followers, we have about 90% said that they would rather throw away money. That's weird. 5% said love. some special people. And then we have what is that? I should have put the percentage right.
You should have did the 10% neither, 5% love, and then nobody said both. As simple as that.
Yes. Guys, we'll be right back with special guest Dr. Clara Peters.
Welcome to River and Word. Our founder is Pam Jones, and she has so much to offer to independents. River and Word magazine helps promote, support, and connect you to radio, TV, and marketers to help you be successful in the arts. River and Word recently launched the River Word Gospel Radio Station. It's a place to gain more exposure for your music or talk shows. River Health offers all natural products that may help you lose weight, gain energy, reverse the signs of aging, improve eyesight, grow your hair, and almost 40 plus benefits. For more information, visit riverhealthnewulife.com. Pam Jones also has 4 River Consulting for independents, where she will guide, advise, and connect you to the resources to develop your brand. Pam Jones founded the River Awards to recognize and award the independent artists in music, dance, writing, and painting. She felt a call from God to give honor to his people. For more information, visit us at riverandword.com.
Welcome back to Reality Check with the Adolphs. And today we have a special guest, and I just can't wait to hear about it.
Thank you, Dr. Clara Peters, for joining us today. We appreciate your time, and we just want to know a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you all for having me. It's a blessing to be here. Okay, so I wear many hats. God's daughter, mother of 3, grandmother of 7. I am a pastor, certified life coach, certified Christian counselor, peer recovery coach, mentor, leader, many hats, international best-selling author. And I just published my own book on January the 20th, 5-time best-selling already.
Wow.
With that one, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, that's awesome. And you said that you're all the Christian counselor and everything, and then you added doctorate. You went back to school?
Always going to school.
So how is that journey?
I love it. I never get tired of learning. We should always want to strive to continue to learn, because the more we learn, the better we are for whoever we serve.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Because you don't want to just be in front of somebody that really don't know anything and just try to tell you something.
Right.
Now, you said that you've written a book.
Yes.
What caused you to write a book, and what is the book about? What's the name of the book?
My book came from my being abused for almost 2 decades, and it was my journey to finding me. And the title of it is Removing the Mask as I Become the Authentic Me. God had to take me through some steps. I had to finally, it was hard for me to do, because coming out of that marriage to where I was being controlled, the last thing I wanted to was allow someone to control me. But I realized that God wasn't trying to control me. I just needed to follow him. And he was going to direct me in the way that I need to go. So once I did that, he helped me to remove some things that was causing me not to be Clara, the Clara that he created before I was even born.
Wow. So you say you was in an abusive marriage. Did you have children?
Yes, we had 3 children. They're all grown now, but yes, we had 3 children.
How did you get out of that situation?
Oh, it was hard. It was hard because he wouldn't let me work. finally, after about a decade, I finally fought my way out of the house to go to work so that I can start building to where I can, survive with me and my children. I could have been gotten out if I wanted to call mom and dad,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to call mom and dad because it was my battle to fight. I got myself in it. I needed to get myself out of it. So after working for a while, things never would change. He kept asking, well, what can I do, whatever. But he never could uphold to it. So finally, I just went to see a lawyer. She gave me some pointers and just told me whenever I'm ready, she's there. So I paid my retainer. And then I was like, okay, let me just wait a little while longer. And he did something, and I just called and pulled the trigger. I said, it's time to make that move.
Yeah. Wow. So was he like that in the beginning? I think, and not to sound disrespectful, a lot of people want to know, how did you put yourself in that situation? Did you know him growing up and then y'all just got married and then he became abusive, or he was abusive while you were dating?
And see, that's a good question. And see, people always assume. And no, he was not like that. I met him when I was in high school. We met as teens. So been with him since I was a teenager.
Wow.
And so he was my first love. Well, I'm gonna say my first love, but in a way, he was someone that captured my heart after I was looking for love. Because the one that I just knew I was gonna be with ended up dying. We was in high school, and it was an accident that happened, and he died from that. So of course, this one came along a couple years later, and I thought it was love, but it wasn't until many years later, until he moved me from Louisiana to here, isolated me. I know no one. Well, I knew people here, but he wouldn't allow me to have friends, wouldn't allow me to have connections with anyone. And that was his way of keeping me to himself. And that's what some people fail to realize. It starts by control, isolating you. And due to the fact that I wasn't close by mom, 6 hours away, but wasn't close to where I could run to mom. But then too, he got to learn me and knew that I was a private person. And because I had a dad and two brothers, they'd never been to jail. My thing was, I better not say anything, because if I do, no telling what would happen. And they were upset when I did tell them 20 years plus down the road. But they was grateful that I was out, and I was out of my right mind.
Yeah, because some of them, we've heard many stories, and unfortunately during the time of the pandemic, that abuse is worse.
Yes.
And there's no way out. You have, the men are at home, the women are at home, and everybody's going crazy where, they're dying, they're abusing each other, they're abusing the children. How did your children react with all of this going on in the household?
Well, the youngest two didn't see as much as the oldest one did. And by the time I finally said it's time to pull the trigger, my oldest was already grown and gone. However, the youngest, they saw enough to know something was going on. So by the time I finally left my youngest, he was in elementary school. The baby girl was just going to middle school. It didn't really affect them too bad. They knew something was going on. My baby girl, she did get in the mix of something one time. And that was one of the biggest decision factors that told me it's time to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Because before then, neither one of them came in and anything. But when she did, I was like, it's time to make a change. Because one thing I did not want to do, even though I called myself staying so that the family can stay together, but then I realized they can have both me and their dad. We just don't have to stay in the same household.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Okay. So you have, like you say, you wear many hats, and you started a radio talk show, Women of Divine Distinction, WODD. What is that about?
Women of Divine Distinction was first started based on my abuse. God gave me that hat to wear, to where I need to be a voice for the voiceless. Need to speak up and speak out for the women that was afraid to speak, so that I can help them, So I'm a domestic violence advocate. And in that ministry, of course, the blog, talk show, radio was birth, and many other things that I do within that. But it's all about helping women. But of course, I've encountered men as well that I've interviewed and talked to in reference to being abused. But they don't talk about them as much because a man being abused?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But there's some good men out there
They
that
really
will
are.
not abuse a woman. And if a woman know that, she's going to use that to her leverage.
And sometimes it's not physical. A lot it's just the words that they say, the meaning of that person in front of people, in front of their children.
Right.
That's still abuse.
Right. And that hurts worse than being hit. And speaking of being hit, I want to make sure that the women knows just because he's not hitting you, that don't mean you're not being abused. If he's controlling you, if he's verbally, emotionally, physical, of course, and financial. If he's abusing you in those ways, it's still abuse. Abuse is abuse, no matter what. But of course, the physical can get, worse because it can ultimately end up into death. But don't take it for granted that just because he controls you and don't hit you, that it won't get any worse than what it.
What I found a lot that encounter, I had spoken out about, I was abused as dating. Before my husband, I was a teenager, and I thought that that was a form of love because, he was still around me, but he would, talk about me, and I'd be like, oh, okay. And then it got to the point where he would hit. So I found that dating abuse is getting worse. What can you tell teenagers or young people about, it's not just being married, that it's a serious thing even when you're dating.
If you're dating and he's verbally abusing you, just saying any kind of crazy things, disrespectful to you in front of friends, then you need to take heed. It's not going to get better. So it's best that you cut the cord there, because if you don't and you continue with the relationship and you marry him, it's going to only get worse because he knows that he have you then because you're not doing anything. And one thing that I had to share too, and you may have heard me say this before, is that I did not only have to forgive him once I was going through my healing, but I had to forgive myself too. And many people thought I was crazy. I was like, no, because the first time is on him. Each additional time is on me and him because I continue to allow him to do that. So I had to stop it. That way is, otherwise, yeah.
And is that part of your counseling, just giving the self-worth, like being the authentic you, like your book? Is that part of the suggestions and tips that you give? Yes,
I encourage the ladies and the men to fall in love with themselves, to date self, to more than anything, not just forgive him, but forgive yourself as well. But also build a relationship with God. Doing those three things right there, forgive, falling in love with you, and building a relationship with God, that will help you in ways that you would be surprised. And I tell them also, take your power back. A person can only do what you allow them. You've given them the power to continue to do you wrong. So in order for you to stop it, you have to take your power back. But one thing that I really do encourage them to do is date themselves. A lot of women are like, wait a minute, how do I do that? I've even had married women to come up to me and tell me, well, thank you for the advice, I'm dating myself, And it should be good because a lot of us, even with marriage, we forget about ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, because, especially in marriages, it's not even really forgetting about it, each other. It's you're used to a certain thing.
Right.
And now it just continues to go. And so things that happened 20 years ago, you can't do the same.
Right.
Guys, we're going to come back and get some more information from Dr. Clara Peters. We'll be right back.
This is Willie Adolph of the Adolph Group at Equity House Properties. I'm here today to talk to you about home purchasing. You know, a lot of times people want to know, where do we start? When do we start? How much do we need to save? What does our credit score need to be like? Can I really move in now? And the answer is yes. The thing is that you want to get pre-approved first before you even go house shopping, because what you wouldn't want to happen is that you find the perfect home, but the bank won't qualify you for your mortgage. So always get pre-approved first. So find a good lender, which we have a lot of resources for you on that. Second, you want to make sure that anything that's on your credit, if it's something that you can work with, let's work with it, because everything on your credit, you know, it depends on what it is for each mortgage company. And third, once you get that pre-approval, now it's time to go house shopping. Now, Willie, what about the money, the down payment and things like that? Well, they have a lot of programs that's out there. So based on your credit will depend on the down payment assistance that you can receive. But we do have a lot of resources and a lot of things that can help you. And everyone with the Adolph Group will hold you by your hand and walk you through the whole process. So you can contact us at www.theadolphgroup.com or 281-451-7087. And remember, when you have will, you have a way.
Welcome back to Reality Check with the Adolphs. And today's guest, Dr. Claire, I love the things that she's been saying because it actually opens the eyes of certain people.
Yes. In continuation, we're talking about domestic violence and being free. And I noticed that one of the scriptures that you have is 2 Corinthians 3:12 through 18. Can you summarize that and why you chose that scripture to put on your bio and your information?
That scripture came from God, but the main verse is verse 17. Now, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. And I know that resonated with me is because he set me free to be me, to be the authentic me, whether you like me or you don't. You know, he took me through some steps for me to find me. And because at one point I was like, nobody like me, I don't have no friends, you know, whatever, coming out of marriage. And then finally he was like, I set you apart for a reason. So walk in your freedom, build the Clara that I've called you to be, and just embrace it. And that's what I did. But it took a moment because I had to remove some things in order for me to be free and really walk in it.
So basically you were talking about removing people, what do you mean removing?
Removing people, places, and our things. And the things that I had to remove was wigs. I had over a month and a half supply of wigs. My granddaughters did not want me to get rid of them, but I got them on a little box, put them in there so I can bury them and have their little funeral because they had to go. They couldn't go where God was taking me. Mm-hmm. And I just finally had to say, okay, and I hated it because when I tell you I had some nice wigs.
Girl, I know.
I had some, yeah. I know. I had some nice, but they had to go. Mm-hmm. And again, because they couldn't go where God was taking me. And that was because I was hiding behind them. Mm-hmm. And then I had to remove myself from some people because, you know, you get yoked up with certain people that is not on the same wavelength that God is taking you on. So you just have to say, you know what, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I had to change that too.
Man, so you do have to sometimes you have to do a soul search.
Right.
And sometimes you could be people that you've known for a
mm-hmm.
long time,
yes.
and you have to just cut ties.
Exactly.
It's like a purging.
Yes.
So the book, Removing the Mask as I Become the Authentic Me. Can you tell us, how can we get that book? What do you have coming up, and how can we connect with you?
The book is on Amazon. You can, of course, look for it under the title Removing the Mask as I Become the Authentic Me. And then you can find me under linktree.com/Dr. Clara L. Peters. All of my information is right there. And what's coming up next for me? New talk show, new TV show, more books. It's just a whole lot that I have going on.
We're so excited. And
Thank
we
you.
thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you all for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Guys, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
The Adolphs Group at Equity House Properties. We provide residential, commercial leasing apartment locating. We provide consulting on home buying, home selling, and credit restoration. We help with private investments through All Faith Investment Corporation. Contact us now, the Adolphs Group at Equity House Properties. We make real estate your reality.
Welcome back to Reality Check with the Adolphs. And our guest, Dr. Claire, was amazing.
Yeah, she was. And I like that she was very open about her situation, about being a domestic violence survivor, and what to do in that situation, because it's so hard, and everybody has all these thoughts of what a person or what the relationship should be like, and they don't know until they're in it.
Yeah, and then she gave some great tips, because things that may seem normal, like trying to keep you to yourself, don't want you to do this, some women may feel like, oh, well, I don't have to work.
He just loved me.
Yes. So
And-
you kind of look for tips and things like that as well.
Yeah, and it's amazing that her kids were able to move forward and support her, because it seems like she had a lot of support to, once she left that situation, there were people around her to help her grow. And especially now she has a book.
Yeah, but I think the main thing was the self-love, finding who she really was and putting herself out there. And now she's in the position to help others.
Oh yeah, I think her story is powerful, and just removing things and being, and like I said, being the authentic you is really coming to a realization that I don't need these things, or I don't need these people.
I think that's the main thing.
You have to know that you are only responsible to God.
Yes.
You don't have to be responsible to any man, any children, any mama, daddy. It's just you and God when it comes down to it, bottom line. And if you know that at the end of the day, he doesn't say, well done, my child, that's it.
Yep.
That's the only thing you should fear. Well, guys, we will catch you next week on Reality Check with the Adolphs, and thank you for watching.
From the household of faith to real estate to what's happening now.
We've got something to talk about. So for the next few moments, please allow us
To bring you something you can feel.
It's time for the real talk about real life. Nothing but real. Wanna tell the truth? It's on the rise. Let's be real. Join in. Tell your friends.